Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This is going to be a lot of fun. What happens when you take $15 to the thrift store to get a record player? Well, usually nothing, because it's kind of odd, even at the thrift store, to find one for that price. But I was in luck the other day. About a week or two ago, I picked up this record player, $14.99. And I know it's a very entry-level product, even when it was new, but at the same time, I thought it would be interesting to check it out. So let's see what I got. I didn't test it. I have no idea if it has belts, or if it has a belt, if it has, if it works. I have no idea. Just $14.99, blindly carried it up to the counter, handed over the cash for your enjoyment. So let's check it out. Let's review it, and let's even do a little bit of a test, see if it's any good. Sometimes you get lucky. I've gotten really good tape decks for less than $10. So you're patient, you keep your eye out, you have the right opportunity. Sometimes at the thrift stores, aka charity shops, you can get lucky. Let's see if I did. You're not going to want to miss this. Every once in a while, you just find these killer deals. I mean, it could be a killer deal. It could be, a complete waste of money. $15 for this thing. Now, if this looks somewhat familiar, and you've been around for a while here on the channel, and you're like, have we seen this? It just looks familiar. This looks like a different iteration of the Vibe record player that I reviewed some time back, a few years ago, which was the first record player that I had when I got back into vinyl. So this is basically where it started for me and has evolved to where it is today. And as I learned more, I have really learned to appreciate where I've come from and where I've, been right now. I mean, it's just incredible. This record player, for me, was, at least the other one that I had, was a good starting point. It really, really was. There was nothing really wrong with it. And hopefully this will be the same way. This one's, seen better days, though. It's, the lid is off. Somehow it's not, where it's supposed to be. There's scratches here. It's been sealed up with packaging tape at some point. It does look like it has a manual and cords that are still in the packaging, so maybe it never really got used. The stylus guard is also still on, but who knows if the belt's in position or whatnot. But I saw this for $14.99. Look at that price tag. And I'm like, you know what? That would make for an interesting show. What does $15 get you at the thrift store? You just never know. So I thought we would take a look at this, judging by, what I know about the other player and whatnot. I'm guessing this is, circa 90, or not 90, circa like 2015, maybe 2014. There's the bottom. Vibe Sound USB turntable. It's very similar. It's like a masonite bottom. We got rubber feet screwed into the bottom. There's like a laminate cover over here. Very, I keep saying basic, but it is basic. It's probably a 2-speed turntable, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and see what $15 got us. Hope you guys had a wonderful, or are still in the process of having the last couple hours of a wonderful weekend. Long weekend here. We got Memorial Day here in the United States, where we say thank you to those that have, served our country and have passed in the line of duty. And to everybody, all of our veterans, a huge thank you for the sacrifice and service. Yeah, I'm taking up the price. I'm not going to return this, even if it doesn't work. This is going to be taking one for the team. So let's go ahead and lift this up. And the lid off of my other one also had an issue. And the little plastic peg that acts as a hinge just snapped off at some point. Packaging tape is kind of annoying because it can leave residue, as you can see there. It's not the worst thing. I mean, you can get it off. But they've also put tape on the platter. So, yeah, we need to get that tape off of there. I'll try to clean it up a little bit, too. I'm not going to go crazy cleaning it up if it doesn't work. But anyway, as you can see right here, there's like sort of a hook that corresponds to this little nub right here. And there's another one over here. So it looks like nothing's broken. It looks like it just fell out of place. So that's good. Yeah. All right. Oops. What is going on here? Something is... Oh, it did break. Okay, so the hinge back here. You can see where the hinge just snapped off there and a little bit of laminate there. It's kind of bubbled up. But yeah, It's a Skywind type of mechanism in a box is really what it is. It's a, I'm not going to say basic again. It is a entry level unit. Sometimes these are really good deals because the person never used it. Like they got it as a gift and they're like, gee, thanks. I don't really want to do records. So it just goes into storage or it's used once and they move on. So let's go ahead and take off this platter mat. Interesting that it has a platter mat. My other one did not. It's a rubber one too. Usually these 7-inch platter mats or whatever this is aren't rubber. Usually they're just felt. And you don't even need a platter mat because the plastic platter has 3 rubber nubs, 3 points of contact, and this is just overkill. This will do nothing. This sonically or mechanically for this level of player, it just won't do anything. Got a 45 adapter, fits on this little peg back here. Again, if you're interested in our custom 45 adapters and now our new Seeburg adapters, you may want to check out the links down below. All right, let's check out if it has a belt to begin with. Now, I could pop off this clip and lift off the platter, or I could just turn it on and see if it works. This would be a good time to look at it because I need a cord in there. So yeah, there's the manual, untouched, and it does have a CD as well. USB turntable, so that's gonna have Audacity on it, which you can download for free online, so you don't really need it. And here is the USB cable. This is a Type 1 USB, an A type, as you can see on that end, with a B on the other end. Oftentimes, these are associated with printers, but that's a USB A and a USB B. I also have an old digital camera, an old Intel digital camera that has this Type A connection on the back. All right, on the back, we've got a USB and then RCA outputs. We're gonna do a direct feed sound test coming out of that left and right output. See how it compares to these built-in speakers. Because if these are anything like the other unit, they're gonna sound just like you expect them to. Anyway, so this will also, you'll notice there's no separate power cord. So you can hook this right up to your computer or a 5-volt power supply. I'm gonna use a brick and plug this in for power. Because like I said, it is powered literally off a USB. You could power this off of like a mobile phone, battery pack. Plug it in and then plug the brick in. See my power strip over there. By the way, that's my ugliest, worst power strip. This must have been in the garage at some point. It's really grungy, and I'm always trying to keep it off camera. Even in this shot, I'm keeping it as far away as possible. I need to get a better looking power strip because, we could use it on camera in the show. All right, so we got a blue light here on the front, and I remember mine had a blue light as well. From a control standpoint, you got this volume control, and then the typical stuff on a Skywind mechanism. Look at this. We even have the twisty tie still on here. Maybe this thing was never even used. I don't even know. But let's see. Okay, so the platter spins. The belt works. All right. We're in business. And this is, let's see here. This is a 3-speed turntable. Oh, interesting. So this is a bit of an upgrade from what I had. So we got 33, 45, and 78. Interesting. So I wonder if this is a bit newer than the one I had. So, okay, well, it works. So I'm assuming sound will come out as well. Before we get to that, I'm going to give it just a cursory wipe down. I'm not going to go crazy spending a lot of time cleaning it, but I am going to clean it up a little bit. And then we're going to run our typical tests on it. So we'll test the tracking force. We will test because everybody's going to say, oh, it's a record destroyer. You're just going to break your records. Which, I feel like I don't even want to talk about that anymore because we've just done so many shows about that. We've disproven that so many times. But we will test the tracking force. We'll test the speed to see how accurate the speed is. Obviously, you can get in there and adjust the motor speed if you're ambitious. It can be done. And then we'll give it a sound test. I've got some special music today because something important happened this week. Something important happened this week in the world of music, specifically in the world of Disney music. And if you know what I'm alluding to, we're going to touch base on that, and that's going to influence what we're going to listen to for today's music. But next, let me go ahead and clean it up. And the good thing is you don't have to watch that because I'm just going to snap my fingers and it's going to be done. Okay, so I gave it 5 minutes, and I think that that's fair. So definitely cleaned up a lot of dust. I also fixed this lid, so it's functional. Again, I just removed the entire hinge, tossed it, and then I used my knife to pry out the little broken off tab from inside the lid. So there's no tension to it whatsoever. It just loosely comes up and down, but Hey, that's better than not working at all. It's better than the post that I snapped off of mine where the lid wouldn't even work. I kind of had to just set it on top. Yeah, so we're ready to test this thing out. When you plug it in, it turns on. There's no on and off switch. So in order to test the tracking force where I put my gauge on the platter, I'm going to need to unplug it so that the power is off. Now, you know what we should do? We should look at this cartridge. Well, we know what the cartridge is, but let's look at this up close and check out the stylus. Okay, so this is a Chuo Denshi clone ceramic cartridge. So it'll sound harsher, a little bit more tinny by nature than a higher end moving magnetic cartridge. It's very common on all entry level record players, or many of them, I should say, especially suitcase players. It's the same type. However, this appears to have a metal cantilever, which is the little stub holding on the needle, the stylus itself down there. And that's a good thing. Ruby tip, I can tell it's a reddish hue, not the plastic red, but the actual tip of the stylus. Hard to see on camera, but to the naked eye, you can see that is indeed a ruby or sapphire tip, which is indicative of an entry level. However, it's not complete bottom of the barrel because that metal cantilever is an upgrade, and it'll be more rugged, it'll be more compliant. And the stylus itself being ruby means that you need to upgrade the stylus after about 100 plays, assuming this is new. But you know, it'll still work. It'll still sound just as good as a diamond one. But you can get the diamond upgrades for cheap on Amazon. They're very easily obtained. Now, I want to point out another thing is it's good practice when you buy a used record player to instantly, without question, without testing, just replace the stylus. Not the cartridge, but the stylus. And I've got a bunch of them. However, I have this feeling that this stylus is unused, so we're going to go for it. If it gouges up my record, I'll take the hit on that. But I would recommend that you guys definitely upgrade if you can, or at least test on a record you don't care about to make sure that the stylus isn't all damaged, destroyed, because who knows if the person before was taking care of this, right? So this will be a stereo ceramic cartridge. Now, ceramic cartridges can sound good if they're impedance matched properly. Something else we'll find out along the way. But, you know, typically the sound just isn't quite as good. Why on earth do they use ceramics? The reason why they use ceramics is, A, they're cheaper. This is like for a manufacturer, this is probably a 3 cent, 4 cent part if you're buying in bulk. Even if you buy, a single unit, this is like a $1 or $2 or $3 cartridge. And again, that doesn't in itself mean it's a bad cartridge, but the other reason why they do it is it outputs a line level voltage. So higher end record players require a preamp stage to get that output voltage to line level so you can connect it to a stereo. But the ceramics output a line level. So literally the wires from here connect to the output connections directly with no circuit. So obviously that saves them money there as well. And all that to say this, that these cartridges are designed to track between 5 and 6 grams, which is heavier than a higher end turntable, but it's not going to do any damage per se. It will wear them out faster than a higher end record player, but 5 or 6 grams is what they're designed for. And this one isn't even hitting 5 grams. I'm pushing down on the lift shelf under the tone arm to make sure that that's not hanging up there. And we're just at about, we're bouncing around a little bit, but between 4.5 and 4.1 grams. So that's a little light for this cartridge. In fact, if this was tracking at 1 to 2 grams, which is, audiophile territory in terms of keeping those guys happy, it would actually do more damage because tracking too light does more damage than tracking too heavy. And records were designed to track up to 9 grams originally. Now, do I recommend putting 9 grams on a record, especially your prized vinyl? No. I don't think that that's a good idea. But at the same time, they're more rugged than a lot of people understand. So with that settled, we now need to look at the record's speed and the consistency and the accuracy of the speed. This is a strobe warning. We need to put our strobe disc on, and we do need it to actually turn on to do this test. And I'm going to need to change the lights because you have to use lights on the same circuit and incandescent lights preferably in order to see the strobe. So I'm going to kill the daylight by closing the blinds and the studio lights, and we're going to take a closer look just with my overhead light in the room here. Okay, we're going to look at, this is a 3-speed turntable record player, so we're going to be looking at this band for 33, this band for 45, and this band for 78. So we're going to start right here, 33 RPM. Let's see how it looks. And as you can see there, those lines are marching to the right. Let's give it a second to stabilize. Oh, look, it stabilized just fine. Now they're marching a little bit to the left. Now they're marching faster to the left. So the speed consistency isn't the greatest here. The belt can stretch. The belt can sort of, contract over time or expand. It just depends. So the condition of the belt could play into this. But as it stands right now, the lines are marching to the left. That means it is fast. So that amount of fastness, I would say, is audible. So that's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and go to 45. That's right there. And quite a bit, faster than it should be as well. And finally, 78, which will be up here. And this one is the outlier. It is actually slow because they're marching to the right. So it's a bit subjective. You could play this thing for a couple of hours and the speeds could kind of settle into where they're supposed to be, or not. It may not, that may never happen. And you can go in there, like I said, and adjust those speeds. So if you're really dedicated and you're ambitious, you could open it up and make those adjustments. There doesn't seem to be any speed adjustments on the bottom, however, so that's a bit of a bummer. Also, I want you to keep in mind that this was $15, okay? We're not trying to make this record player replace some high-end system. This is just a device that will play records. It's entry level. Even at its best, out of the box, brand new, even with the speeds perfect, this isn't the best solution for playing records, but it's $15, okay? It's $15. So for a kid or somebody that, just wants to dabble in this, why not? Let them have fun with it. And, the question of, well, is it going to turn them off to vinyl forever because, this heinous sound that this is going to have, which I'm being facetious. Yeah, that's an argument that we've talked about before. I could see that happening. However, most people, I think, are smart enough to understand that there are better sounding record players, and I have heard from many, many, many people that move on to higher end equipment, even though they've started with something subpar. Okay, for music today, Small World. Now, don't run screaming, because this song does get stuck in your head, although I'm not going to be able to play much of the song itself. Why are we even considering this? Well, if you haven't heard, Richard Sherman passed away a couple of days ago. And Richard and Robert Sherman, the Sherman brothers, were basically responsible for writing every Disney ride song. And we're talking about, almost every single ride. It's a Small World. There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow for Carousel of Progress and many, many others. Enchanted Tiki Room, etc., as well as the music for many of the Disney movies like Mary Poppins, among many, many others. So they were huge. They were huge and very prolific, very kind and very beloved. And with the passing of Richard, Robert had passed many years ago. They and Walt Disney, it's what I mean? We've turned a page in the history of Disney music. So in honor of Richard Sherman, we're gonna play some of his music, him and his brother. So this is an interesting record. It's not just that song, which is an interesting song, love it or hate it. That song is, from a technical standpoint, pretty fascinating because it's a loop. It's designed where it infinitely loops. And, that's kind of a tricky thing from a songwriting standpoint. This is one of those picture album records where you've got, all these full color pictures mixed in here as well. I picked this up several years ago for such a time as this. The artwork, I love the artwork of this ride, and if you've ever heard of the name Mary Blair, that is the individual who is responsible. She initially was an artist with Disney and did some background art for Cinderella, I think 1953, if I'm right, and, Disney, called upon her to design a lot of other things, in the decade following, including It's a Small World, which initially opened at the New York World's Fair in 1964 before being moved into Disneyland. And there's one out here in Florida too at Disney World, which I walked right by there today. I was trying to ride some rides today at Magic Kingdom to honor Richard Sherman because he wrote, 80 to 90% of the ride music there. Ran into Adam the Woo again too. I ran into that guy a lot. But anyway, that's what we're going to be listening to today. Initially on the speakers, and then we'll do a direct feed. All right, as you can see, we got some fingerprints on this record. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use this felt brush. So it's like a padded felt not carbon fiber, but it's good for just like surface dust. And look at that, it pulled off quite a bit. This record needs a deep clean. Absolutely needs a deep clean. But for today's purposes, it will suffice. Record seems to be in pretty good condition. Also, it looks like this is one continuous groove without any breaks in it whatsoever. Now I need to clean this brush. Okay, let's go ahead and drop the needle here. Again, we're listening ambiently in the room. These little speakers will probably sound like little speakers, but stay tuned. We'll do a direct feed in a little bit as well. But to begin with, let's go ahead and listen to It's a Small World. The descent on that, by the way, wasn't bad. Also, I should mention, look at that. Those fingerprints are still there. Let's do some like manual scrubbing. Yeah, that needs a deep clean. Dang it. Okay. Oh well, for today, won't matter. There is the 3-speed selector switch here. There is also an auto stop on and off, so the record player can stop automatically when it gets to the end. Also, there is a queuing lever, which is a nice feature. Mine did not have the queuing lever, so this I think is an upgraded model. All right, enough blabbing. Here we go.
Here beneath the Tower of the Four Winds, we board our enchanted excursion boat on the start of a wonderful voyage through the 7 seas, where our hosts will be all the little children of the world. We're greeted first by a chorus of Scandinavian children, while young ice skaters whirl and glide, and up ahead, a squad of toy soldiers strikes up the band. If it's raining.
So, that speaker sounded, like you would imagine. It's listenable. I mean, it's not like you couldn't have fun listening to it, but if you want to really rock out, really jam out to some music and, get into the whole vinyl analog sound experience, this isn't the record player for that. This is to physically make sound come off of records. All right? That's the concept here. There'll still be some guy in the comments, oh, my SL1200 will knock the socks off of that. Of course it will. That's not the point. That's not the point. You know what I mean? You're comparing a go-kart to a Rolls Royce. Both will move you, but this one has a different use case. Doesn't matter how many times I say that, I will still get that guy. He will always be in the comments. It's okay. We're happy you're here. We try to educate everybody here a little bit. And this whole channel, by the way, you may be saying, wait a minute, who's educating who? You started with this thing as recently as like 2015, 2016. Who's teaching who? Absolutely. I'm learning here, and I've learned a lot since then. The whole channel idea was watch me learn, not watch me teach you. But in the process of learning, we've all learned together. That's been the concept of the show, which is different than a lot of other shows, and I'm proud of that. And proud of the fact that I've learned so much from you guys. But it is what it is. Facts are facts. Facts are facts. It was listenable, especially for like if you were listening to spoken word like we were just then, it would work. But let's go ahead and hook up a direct feed just for grins, just for giggles, and let's listen to the direct feed out the back and see how good that cartridge can sound. By the way, I think this stylus is fine. I think it's in good shape. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. So you can cut the sound to the speakers by turning the volume down without affecting the line output. That's a true line output. Again, using my headphone amplifier here as a pad into the digital recorder. This will be at CD resolution, which YouTube will then dumb down. But you'll still be able to listen directly and get a taste for it. So headphone alert, go ahead and put your headphones on. And without further ado, we're going to drop the needle on some hopefully copyright-friendly aspects of this record and celebrate the Sherman Brothers and also listen to this record player.
The next countries we visit on our small world tour are the Balkans and Russia, where pointed domes of silver and gold look down on high-stepping, brightly colored dancers. Accompanying the dancers is a balalaika band and 3 young fur-capped Cossacks performing the knee-straining national dance, the Gopak. India's mystery and beauty are represented by the lovely veiled girls dancing by the Taj Mahal. Across a cool pond, a youthful snake charmer takes up the song with his pipe. Friendly llamas climb the peaks of the Andes Mountains as we start up the South American continent. We hear a little Chilean boy playing on his reed flute. Gauchos and senoritas balancing jars and fruit on their heads as we sail into sight of our home port beneath the Tower of the Four Winds. Scores of the world's children whom we have just visited in their homelands assemble to sing us a friendly farewell. Still in their national costumes, they join in a universal rendition of the song. With the finale, all boundaries have been removed. Our hosts on this tour were simply children of the world who share the common bonds of friendship, imagination, purity, and understanding. It's a small world, and a happy one, after all.
All right, my friends, and that is going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I enjoyed putting it together for you. If you are looking to pick up your first record player or another record player, and you want to find a really good deal, sometimes, $15 is extreme, but sometimes you can, actually not even sometimes, I would say quite often, if you're patient, you keep an eye on these thrift stores, you can find good deals that pop up. They're not always good deals there. Just because they're in a thrift store doesn't mean they're a good deal. This exact same store had a record player for $45 that definitely was not worth $45, which I passed on, and I would recommend you do the same. If you're not sure what's a good deal or what you should be looking for when you are searching for a record player, I'm going to put a link in the description below for a video I did on buying your first record player, specifically when you go to the thrift store, what to look for, the little kind of red flags to be aware of, etc., etc. But mostly, my friends, I just want to say thank you so very much for being there. Also, I wanted to let you know that our new Seeburg 2-inch record adapters are for sale on our eBay shop. These are for playing Seeburg records. This is not a 45 adapter. We still have our exclusive Sky Blue 45 adapters for sale as well. Links are down below. We are also in the process of designing a new 45 adapter, so look forward to releasing that soon. And if you're more interested in things like t-shirts, hats, more typical merch, also there's a store shelf below this video where you can check out all sorts of goodies, from die-cut stickers to hats, even sandals. There's some cool stuff in there. You should check it out. But mostly, I'm just glad you're there. So thank you for being there. Happy record hunting, and we will see you next time.